how a culture can play a vital role in the growth of entrepreneurial growth.
General, especially consultants, freelance, mediators, are lacking in adoption more risk taking.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have again a very special guest today in our podcast. He is working on cultures, different cultures around the globe, and he is working on antique pieces and he's working in museum to promote museum culture as well. With that, he is the CEO of Cultural Inquiry. Joseph Antonio, thank you so much for your precious time, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be with you. The business narrative podcast is an amazing initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And when I was going through your profile, I came to know that, as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, that you are working in different fields related to culture. You're promoting museum culture again. You are working as a geologist, archaeologist. You have all interest in these kind of things. But if we go back in your early initial days, every parent at that period of time in 90s or early 2000s, they want their children to be a doctor, engineer, MBA, a secure job. But on the other side, you chosen this field. Who motivated you? Who was your inspiration to be in this field?
Well, as usual, is my childhood again. I was a Montessori guy, so this school was the ground of everything I have developed during all my career, my professional career, because give me the fundamentals to be curious, to experiment constantly, to innovate, and to face challenges. I mean, one of the main skills that I get from this wonderful school was that a hard or challenging situation can be a good opportunity to do something great. And that is connected specifically with some very concrete situation. For example, the origin of culture inquiry is completely connected with a very hard situation. Was I live in Sweden some years ago, situation related with structural racism. And let's say that it was this situation of injustice that pushed me to start my own company, my own project. And I was very hardly harassed and well, I create one of the most single-handed visited exhibition of the story of the museum. I was working as an educator, and this in a very difficult circumstances in pandemic. So this situation that was very hard, involving even flagrant lack of professionalism and betrays and things, very, very nasty things, was the counter example that was essential to understand my later work. The key idea was, okay, let's make sure that what has been done to me does not happen to any other professional in culture. So let's create something wonderful, something powerful, something inspiring that make possible that this will not happen again to any other one. And Culture Inquiry was born exactly in this context.
That's really interesting, and I think you should be focused what you want, and whenever you have focused in that particular thing, you can achieve it. Now I will come back on the track that now you have identified that you want to start such sort of business. But when you started, what were the initial challenges? What were the resistances you had faced? Because everybody around the globe, every entrepreneur around the globe faced financial problems, capital issues, managing teams. So what was your challenges at that period of time when you started?
This is very interesting question because culture inquiry, if you analyze the context when the company emerged and born, was incredibly difficult. In fact, it was the most contrafactual idea to start. Everything was against something like culture inquiry when it born. We have a massive pandemic disruption in the museum sector. There was a lot of layoffs and people quitting their jobs. Thousands of colleagues trying to survive, doing their thing in a kind of everyone for themselves culture. A completely unknown context because I start my company in a different country from my hometown, it was Switzerland, without any contacts. I should learn German to start everything. I start from the scratch my network local. So you see all these challenges were on the DNA of culture inquiry, because at the end was I need to do something completely radical, new, out of the box, and even it seems the worst option ever, isn't it? If you had the kind of business to run crazy projects involving children, leading and questioning the classical power structures in culture, you can think, okay, this is over. The chances of success were zero or close to zero. But incredibly work and incredibly work very well. So this is my reflection. Sometimes we think that the most crazy business idea can fail because there is a mainstream uh, narrative about the 95% of the startups that begins fail in the first 1 year and things like that. But sometimes it's not true. Sometimes you need to have a different, completely approach and believe in the approach strongly, passionately, and be able to be resilient. That's my conclusion. Yeah.
I think as an entrepreneur, as you mentioned, that believing yourself, having purpose, and after that, implementing all these scenarios and uh, identifying the problem and making the solution is the most important thing. And I think a lot of people who are seeing this, they are taking notes, and I'm learning a lot of new things. Now, like when I was going through your profile, I've seen you have been mentioning this that success is not linked with money, but mostly we are living in 2025, and in this era, mostly people recommend that if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a human being in this world, you need to earn money more and more and more. But on the other side, you totally don't recognize success with money. How?
I don't identify with this concept, this mainstream concept of success equal incomes and money. Obviously, you need to live from your business, but for me, success is do what you love while keeping your values. Be authentic, take risk, and get deeply involved. Take sides, be brave, passionately every day. This is what is success for me. I when I start every day, I do something that is unique, and I convince others that what I'm doing is unique and they can be part of this uniqueness. This is what for me success. And in this sector, many people identify successful with the bottom line. Of course, you have to make a living, but also it's a question to be strategic in terms of time. The short or medium term is always related with incomes and money. I mean, what you have in the next month, what you have in the next trimester, what you have in the next season in terms of incomes. But you need to, at the end, answer very honestly the question: professionally or personal success. What means for you? What will really sustain you in the face of all the challenges and problems and difficulties that for sure you will go through? Because if you only sustain in one single point, that is money, at the end this will not work at all. I mean, even if you get money and you have a good um, financial sustain, it will for sure fail at a certain moment, because it will not give you happiness. And it's not a cliche. It's so true. It's a fuel that I have together with my inner child connection. That is what sustains me every day. The passion to continue in the mid long term. It's a question of long term run. It's a marathon. And I love this beautiful quote of my beloved singer Jacob Collier that says, if you make really beautiful things that you love and you articulate them really clearly, and this is very important, and well and fairly, and you leave them in the world for people to find, there's a particular kind of gravity that comes to those things when they thrown with freedom and abandon and trust. And I strongly believe in this gravity sense. This is what you are in the business, and you are able to involve more and more people that are not your only your clients, are your friends.
Very well said, and I think these points are the most important things. And we cannot measure success with money. Money is also important thing for for basic needs, to fulfill our basic needs. But on the other sides, we need to keep all these things as well in the mind. And now you have talked about a little bit about culture, like indirectly, but yeah. So I will be like linking my next question with your previous talk, that you have talked about culture, like how a culture can play a vital role in the growth of entrepreneurial growth of any startup business. What does it mean? Do in 2025, do big companies, big organizations, they have concepts of culture?
Well, I think in Europe in general, at least, culture professionals are in general, especially consultants, freelance, mediators, are lacking in adoption more risk-taking attitudes, betting on what seems impossible. Um, and that's the culture inquiry is very small, but I think it's very agile, very very risky, very prone to position clearly in this what if mindset in whatever situation, no matter if it's a question of imagine new audiences, create strategic visions, develop new narratives, involve in a very different way children, rethink the role of artificial intelligence in culture organizations. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a question of mindset. And there's still too much fear of making mistakes. When making mistakes is essential for learning. I mean, I don't understand why the it is very rooted in our educational system that punish us when we fail, and we reproduce this again and again when we create something in our adulthood, in our job life, professional life. We avoid to fail, and we continue to conceive our projects in terms of strict compliance with planned objectives, budgets, results, KPIs, blah blah blah. But sometimes this is not the way to progress. Sometimes it's a question to challenge the whole picture because you are very aware about the deep roots of the situation, and you try to, yeah, to rock the boat a little bit. And this is exactly your business. Be different and rock the boat. There is a tremendous resistance to change, especially in large organizations, what I call the mastodons. But sometimes it surprises you because sometimes some of these big mastodons, big elephants, come to you and says, "Well, let's have you and try it a shot." Is And it's always the same because some good leader is willing to pay the price of risk and therefore the failure, and share this mindset of what if we try at least with their teams. So the paradox is that to succeed you have firstly to fail. If not, it's not possible. And I think in culture in general we still continue with this conservative attitude to save money, save resources, to avoid to fail when we inevitably, when we are very conservative in this way to think, we will end in a very cul-de-sac, as the French say, no exit situations.
No exit situation. Like you should challenge yourself, and you have to identify it. And after that, your team should work on it. Thank you. And I have a surprise rapid fire question for you. And it was not a part of our discussion, but to make this podcast interesting, I will be asking you some rapid fire questions, and you have to answer them very quickly. Tea or coffee?
Coffee with milk, because I'm a Spanish guy and it's a kind of hometown tradition, custom. So, yeah, this is my breakfast, like so many years ago. Coffee with milk.
Okay. Best place for holiday where you can like chill and you can have a good time.
A forest, any forest. I mean, nature for me is a balance. So I a man who hug trees.
So you love nature as well. Your favorite quote or mantra to get success in life.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books is The Little Prince from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Let's say all grown-ups were once children, but only a few of them remember it.
Okay. Like if a genie came to you and you get a lump and you like you rub that lump and the genie came to you and said, Master, I will be like fulfill your three wishes. What will be your three wishes?
Yeah, this is funny because from when I was a child, I reversed the answer, and I will answer she or he. He will have the pampering that he had. I mean, my wishes will be their wishes. What kind of wishes should have a genie? So your wishes will be my wishes. I'm curious. I will reverse the answers to them. A very little different from the rest of the humans.
Okay. Lastly, morning bird or night owl?
Morning. I'm a morning person. I start my work very early in the morning, like at 6. So yeah, I'm an early person. Yeah.
So this is the end of a rapid fire round, and now we have to come back on that track. You have talked about a lot of things. You are a very fond of mental health and self-care of an entrepreneur or other human beings. So what are the traits that an entrepreneur is not taking care of himself? What are the signs?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are many, and it's very sad to see some of them sometimes in my colleagues and some professional people. There are a lot burnout attitude I call cannibalism, in which everyone distrusts everyone else and tries to gain positions at any price. Some kind of paranoia, believing that everyone will cheat at your back. Lack of motivation, of course, an illusion. Lack of hope, believing that there is no way out. This silo perspective, this hamster wheel trap. But the sad thing is that even people who make a living in the culture field are trying to fix these broken toys, let's say. But this cannot be fixed with a little piece of therapy or self-called therapy with some few self-care mantras. It's something much more deep-rooted, structurally rooted in what we have a little bit part, everyone, of responsibility. That's why we must start talking about it among professionals in a very honest and collective way. I will do a very therapeutical session on April 2nd in an organization called Independent Museum Professionals in USA on April the 2nd with this topic, the self-care skills that are essential for entrepreneurs in culture because they are exposed daily to some very toxic dynamics and stressful dynamics, and you must for sure prioritize your well-being above everything else.
Okay, very well said. And now, you have talked about, like, they are not taking care of their mental health or self, they are not taking care of their selves. So, what are the solutions? Like you have talked about in your rapid fire round that you'd like forest, and those people who love nature, they can have a mental peace. There are a lot of therapies they can do to maintain a good mental health. So what is your suggestion as an uh, seasonal entrepreneur? You have been facing all these problems as well. So what is your suggestion to those entrepreneurs who are facing these things?
Yeah, it's a little bit like the question of the success. I mean, is to have your priorities very clear and build strong boundaries to defend these priorities against everything or although everything. And number one is your own well-being and mental health. This is, for example, one of the triggers that help me and support me in my everyday life, and when I should have difficult decisions. The well-being is a good compass to support you in this making decision process. When this comes into play, you are doing something wrong. When you are not following this well-being compass, you are a little bit on the trap. Respect rest times is key. In my case, nature plays a central role in reconnecting, healing, and balancing. These forest baths for me are essential. I'm lucky because I'm in a very good context and environmental context that is Switzerland, and they have wonderful nature landscapes, and this is for me super important. Practicing also basic sociability is so important through meals, meetings with friends, with people who you feel good, surrounded, with no digital presence, please. And as a colleague, a wonderful colleague, explained recently in a wonderful article, Mitra Marine, this sociability is so important for the entrepreneur because sometimes it's very lonely work and you need to reconnect and to, yeah, take care about your social connections and networks and also is connecting with this, I advise to be involved in local community projects because it makes you feel as an important part of your local community. It doesn't matter if it's to support elderlies or care children or try to fix installations or whatever. This reinforces your sense of belonging as a person, and also sends a strong message to your community that you can that they can trust on you, and can count on you, which is it's not so a small thing in these times where immigrants and foreigners are constantly stigmatized as the devil. So I strongly recommend this.
These recommendations are the most important and golden recommendations because it's coming from experience, and I really value your recommendations and I will try to implement in my personal life. Now, there is a question came in my mind that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of employers, when a bad time or they're going through a tough patch or bad patch, they see towards their leader, their CEO, or like anything you can call. But on the other side, if the CEO or our leader is not giving proper attention towards them, how uh, to overcome all these things? And on the other side, how this thing leading in a bad time is interlinked with culture inquiry, because you are working and you are a CEO of culture inquiry as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I see now the story from the other side, and it's very interesting because I have been working in organization during so many years with a leader, and I'm my own leader, or try to inspire as a leader to other leaders. So it's a very interesting change of the story. But in general, I would like to say that a good leader is always setting an example. Is a good listener. Is also is coherent with the values that the leader is preaching. I mean, it's not an incoherence. It's not a distance between what the leader is telling and when with the leader is acting, and there is a strong coherence, a robust coherence. Is knowing how to take a step back also when it's necessary. Is this wonderful leadership style to lead from behind, from the when you are not visible but you are present because of your example. Is the art of delegate is exactly the opposite of micromanaging. I was talking about this museum in Sweden, and was a person that was constantly micromanaging, because at the end it's a question of and to be not safe and secure about your own role. So you need to constantly push people. If you delegate and you are confident with your own team, you don't need to be constantly micromanaging and controlling. It's creating a good atmosphere of trust in the team where everything can be discussed honestly. When sometimes you fail, sometimes you success, is a story that you collectively share with others. Is respect the capability of each person without feeling threatened by the existence of people brighter than you. On the contrary, you celebrate the good insights of everyone, because everyone has something to valuable to contribute in a good way to the team. And over time I realized that the bad leadership that you have seen in your experience is a very is something very weak, because the time is the best judge and is the best factor to see if these apparently powerful leaders we are seeing this nowadays in USA are so, if they are really so powerful as they seem. And it's not, it's like that. You need to apply only the receipt of the time. imagine in 100 years who will remember them and what will be from their experience and their impact. Nobody probably will remember, because people remember the good times, remember the good connections, remember the good will, and that's exactly the leadership. This is something so remarkable. These people are condemned to be announced. Nobody is in the culture field. And what is so proud for me is that Culture Inquiry is positioning itself as a small culture entrepreneurship company that more and more people all over the world are looking to and willing to cooperate and do something interesting and inspiring together.
Okay, so inspiring the whole team as a leader is the most important thing. But on the other side, we see that there are a lot of employees. If I'm running a company, I have 20, 25 employees working under me. Every employee wants to grow, and some employers want to be promoted. So might be chances that there will be a monopoly, or there will be a politics, a office politics. So how challenging it will be for a leader or entrepreneur to maintain a good working culture in an organization, and to promote to dispromote all these bad factors.
Yeah, it's an art. There is no manual, there is no instruction uh, toolkit. Even people think that is like that, and they are even doing business with this. It's not, for me, it's not like that. I mean, because it's a question of experience, it's a question of your own story, it's a question of your own vision, and this is not possible to reduce to an artificial intelligence program asking ChatGPT, how can I be a good leader to this culture organization? Is something that is so connected with your own personal story, your experience, and this cannot be the style in three drops and three instructions. But over the time, I have reflected because I have the costume to analyze myself and self-criticize myself, sometimes very much, too much sometimes, but analyze my path and try to get some experience, some lessons from what I have lived. And one of them is very important: is know your audience. Who is we are reaching for? Who are your companions in crime? Who is the people that can be interesting to be part of your story? Uh, Meet them on their terms, not in your terms. Take risk, take in their way, using their mindset, their visions, not your visions. Make an effort to be part of their lives, to build these trust relationships internally and externally, indoors, outdoors. Build a relationship based on confidence and respect and trust and humility and authenticity and honesty. Children are the best ones doing this. They are incapable to fake relations, because if it's a waste of time and is leading nowhere. So create meaningful opportunities to participate, and think yourself as a community weaver, not as a leader. You are a part of the story. And I'm sure that the leaders will be other ones, and they will change during the time. And this is amazing. I mean, this idea of fake idea and very false idea of constant leadership, no matter the situation, no matter the context, is so weak. I mean, it's not true. And you are able, as I mentioned in one of my answers, you need to be able to step back and to share your leadership role at some a certain moment and be happy to for this. So this is a kind of combination, an art between ownership and at the same time give a clear frame, a roadmap, flexible map to your team to be able to do something unique. I'm constantly changing my teams in different countries, in different contexts, in different languages, in different, and I'm so happy and resonate a lot and some change because of this constant difference from the landscape. This is the also what nurture and feed everyday culture inquiry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your golden tips. And I think a lot of people who have seen this, they will going to learn a lot of new things. We have a time limit, but before leaving, any message for young people, for aspiring entrepreneurs? They are trying something but continuously failing, facing failures. They're going through a tough patch. What is your suggestion to them?
My suggestion is try it, do it, let's do it. I mean, is what I mentioned in one of my answers. If somebody 3 years ago came to me and say, don't try it at all, this is a crazy idea, culture inquiry is condemned to fail and is a waste of time and is impossible. Well, 3 years after, culture inquiry is sustained financially, is doing great projects internationally with national museums, international museums, with very important culture role players in, and it's because of this dare to do is and of course will be difficulties and challenges and hard moments, but it's part of the journey, and inside of the journey you will learn a lot of incredible things that are waiting for you. If not, you will never know what was your destiny. You are on chart of your destiny, and you need to try it for sure. Even everyone around you is telling it's crazy, is condemned to fail, it will not work. Sometimes these are signs exactly to do the opposite.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph, for your precious time. And this is you, who, those people who are watching us. This is you. You have to take the first step, and after that, you will create your own path. If you like the podcast, then do share with your friends. Do subscribe the channel. We will be going to meet you in the next podcast. Till then, take care. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy and so honored to be with the business narrative. And please keep in contact. Thank you.